This is Robert Kiyosaki for Infowars.com.
Millie Weaver reporting for Infowars.com. We're here in Bozeman, Montana at the Red Pill Expo with a very special person. Now, he was one of the speakers. This is Robert Kiyosaki. Right. Now, Robert, you did a great job on your speech, but I really have been dying to ask you, what advice would you give to millennials that are struggling financially?
Well, I always ask people, what did you learn about money in school? And for the answer for most people, it's nothing. They've all learned economics, balance a checkbook, but that's really not money. And the reason they don't learn about money is because the story of Rich Dad, Poor Dad is my poor dad was a PhD, which stands for poor, helpless, and desperate. No, he's a good man. But as you know, they don't learn much about money. And so my father knew nothing about money. And that's the problem. So we have all these academic elites, like Obama and Hillary and those guys. They run the country with no financial education.
Well, I have always found it so bizarre that in school they don't even teach people how to do their taxes. Yet, you should know something about taxes because as an American you're required to at least file taxes for the most part. But, Robert is the author of many books. Can you tell us about some of your books?
Well, Rich Dad, Poor Dad is it was on the New York Times bestseller list for almost 7 years, plus 3 other books. It was four in the top 10. And I flunked out of school because I can't write. I'll mention that. But anyway, they yanked it because they didn't like a capitalist book being on their bestseller list. But if you look at Publishers Weekly, my book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, is still number 3 to number 1. But the New York Times will not recognize it. And I think that's kind of telling about the media and what's really going on. Is because most journalists are like my poor dad, very smart people. I think they mean well, but without financial education, they have to take a point of view that the rich are evil and greedy. The rich don't pay taxes. And America was born as a tax-free nation. And now they think paying taxes is patriotic. So, our problem is our leaders have no financial education. That's why we're going broke. They're a bunch of crooks.
Do you think that a lot of the reason that so many wealthy business people like Donald Trump, that they're not paying taxes? Well, I know you showed that amazing model and how there's 2 different sides and they're thinking obviously on a different level. But do you think that it could be partially because they have the means to hire tax attorneys and accountants and people that are so aware of all of this?
Absolutely. Business is a team sport. In school, I was a C student, and I always sat next to the A student. That's called cheating in school. But in the business world, that's called smart business procedure. Right. So I hear people complain about the bureaucrats. My poor dad, most of my family are bureaucrats, highly educated bureaucrats. And they complain about them. Man, any businessman can kick their butt. Financially, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when I hear somebody complaining about the bureaucrats, I'm going, boy, you must be Pee Wee Herman or a wimp or something. So when I go into a meeting with the IRS, I just go with my accountants and my attorneys. And we have a nice discussion on tax law. And that's how I got smarter as an entrepreneur, because I'm not a very smart guy, academically. But I go, my accountants and my attorneys educate me, and they're not mean. They're smart. They're tough. They know what they're talking about. So that's how I got smarter. Now, if you're an employee, you don't need accountants and attorneys because there's nothing an accountant attorney can do you for taxes. You got one of, I think, a W-2 or something, and, you wonder where the money went every time you look at your paycheck. An accountant can't help you. So that's why going to school, getting a job from a financial point of view is really a bad advice.
Well, we've seen how a lot of these college kids, they're taking out these huge loans to go to school, and then we're seeing how their degrees are being lower and lower valued as more and more people get them because they can all get access to these loans. What do you think about that situation? What would you advise students thinking about going and taking out a big college loan?
Well, as I always say, there's good debt and bad debt. And good debt is debt that makes you richer, and bad debt is debt that makes you poor. Like you buy a house, that's bad debt. Credit card debt is generally bad debt. car is bad debt. Whereas if I borrow money to buy real estate, it makes me rich. So that's good debt. So if a kid goes into school, they take out the student loans and they frivel it away, and then they don't graduate. That's when that student loan becomes an albatross around their neck. So before a student takes out a student loan, they'd better be really sure they want to graduate. Because if they don't graduate, and graduating is doesn't save you, but you're a little better off. If you drop out, you're finished. That's the tragedy.
So it really is a huge risk to take out a student loan. And we're seeing a lot of these millennials falling into that, and now we see them thinking about communism. What would you say to people thinking that communism is the solution for how things are in America right now?
Well, I'm afraid because there's little financial education, people don't know what a communist is. See, most people who work for the government who believe in equality for everybody, which is noble, it's a noble. You want everybody to share the wealth and everybody should have equal, that's communism. But it actually comes from the heart. And they don't know what communism is. And we have more communists in government and in the school system, good people, but they don't know they're communists.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They're just good people. My whole family leaned left. They're good people. They don't understand why I have hundreds of millions of dollars and everybody else is starving. Well, it's a different education. So they want me to share my wealth, which is communism. They want me to give, take from the rich and give to the poor. That's communism. If you support that, that's fine, but I'm a former U.S. Marine, 2 tours in Vietnam. I didn't fight for communism. I fought for capitalism. That's the difference.
And we've seen how Donald Trump obviously has the rich dad mentality. I mean, he is so successful and he's a very savvy businessman. And I think that's why a lot of people were so curious to see how he would do as the president, let's see if a businessman can actually do a better job running the country than a politician or a bureaucrat, so to speak. So you said you know President Trump, and it seems like you knew him pretty well. What can you tell us about him?
Well, first of all, he and I wrote 2 books together. I'm the only other person that shared the cover, and we're supposed to write the 3rd book, except I said, hey, it's time to write the 3rd book. He goes, I'm sorry, I'm running for office. I said, good luck. Now, he is a fantastic man. You look at the man through his children. His children are magnificent, and they're fantastically, they're polished, smart, savvy, well-disciplined. But in dealing with Donald, he's straight, he listens, makes decisions quickly. And I think that's his Achilles heel. Because bureaucrats, all they want is to keep their job. They're not here to get the job done. So I feel for my friend Donald. He's a great man. He has the same disease I have, foot and mouth. Or tweet and mouth, whatever you want to call it.
Tweet and mouth.
But, and I'm so politically incorrect. That's what he is, and it's unfortunate, Everybody said, well, stop tweeting. It's like, well, it's Donald. And people look at it as what, et tu kufufu or something he tweeted. At the same time, he went to NATO, and he said to NATO, pay up. You guys are not paying your bills. Then he went to Saudi Arabia and says, let's kick ISIS's butt, That's the kind of leader he is, but the press never covers that. And what people don't cover is that, and I'm not Republican or Democrat, I rather stay neutral. President Obama was a fellow Hawaiian, or maybe he's from Argentina, or wherever else he could be from. South America. No, he's from Africa, that's right. But anyway, he gave Iran $150 billion. Iran is the biggest exporter of terrorism in the world, next to Qatar. Then he released those Guantanamo guys, and he says, I want you boys, you be good boys now, and you promise not to be terrorists anymore. Oh, yes, President Obama, we promise. And they all run to Qatar, and they were in action that afternoon. You know what I mean? And we're after Trump for firing the FBI director, and we all know the FBI is a little tainted also. The CIA, I know a little bit about the CIA because as a Marine pilot, I was recruited by them to fly trucks. And I don't do drugs. I'm pretty straight. So anyway, our whole system is suspect right now. It's all these bureaucrats and people with their hands in the pot. The question I ask all over the world, why does a politician go into office poor and leave rich? How does that happen? That's corruption. But nobody says anything about that. They get Trump for some goofy thing, you know? And the trouble with the special prosecutor, because I've had one of them on my butt. This is the thing I'm afraid of, because Trump's my friend. They'll find something. You know, when I was guilty, I got accused of in the Marine Corps, and they came and they started turning over the rocks. Oh my God. It's all the things I did I thought I got away with, I didn't get away with. I just pled guilty and just get off, you know. I was never, they let everything go. But my concern for my friend, the president, is they're going to find something. And it doesn't make a difference what they find. They will find something.
Well, you know, that's why typically we don't allow fishing expeditions in our justice system. But, of course, they're going to try and dig and dig and dig, try to illegally survey him, and so on and so forth. And we have already seen what happened with Michael Flynn. So I'm sure we'll see more. But, you know, overall, if you just have one more thing to say about the Red Pill Expo and what you would advise other Americans out there to do to wake up and red pill their friends, what would you say to them?
Well, I thought it was funny. The local media here in Bozeman calls us a white supremacist meeting. I'm not white. I had to crack up, you know. I mean, they just label us. But anyway, the Red Pill Expo was for out-of-the-box thinking. I came here as a participant as well as a speaker because I need new ideas. I need some out-of-the-box ideas. And that's why I come to the Red Pill Expo. You come for the out-of-the-box ideas because that's what we need today. Today, America's in serious, serious, serious trouble. And all of us need to be more vigilant, not less vigilant.
Well, thank you so much, Robert, and we all really enjoyed your speech, so thank you so much for giving us this time.
And thank you to InfoWorld, because you guys are doing a great job.
Protect your skin with SPF 30 sunscreen lotion by Emmerich Essentials. Perfect for face and body, this natural, unscented sunscreen can be worn at all times of the day whenever you need sun protection. We source ingredients from nature, producing a product free of harmful chemicals and toxins. This natural lotion contains 21% zinc oxide, which is the largest particle size used, and we do not use nanoparticles. The larger the particle, the safer it is for your body. The organic oils help hydrate the skin, leaving it nice and smooth. The truly natural, fragrance-free sunscreen for the most sensitive skin. Emmerich Essentials wants you to enjoy the sun and strives to bring you organic products to enhance your life. Naturally protect your skin with SPF 30 sunscreen lotion by Emmerich Essentials. Stop exposing yourself and your family to toxic ingredients. Visit InfoWarsStore.com and learn more about the new SPF 30 sunscreen lotion